going to welcome you back here. We're in the home stretch of what I feel like is a pretty strong debut for an Opportunity Summit, and that's true because of you. So thank you all for being here again. Thank you very much. While you're in that mode of showing appreciation and applause, there's still quite a few of them who are here with us, and I'm hoping you will take a minute and just express more gratitude to our morning speakers. I see Delilah's still here, and Andrea's here. Really awesome. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize one more time the contributions of Glenmead and PNC to making this day really successful. So thank you. So this usually goes the other way. Usually he introduces me, but I get to do this to him now, which is I get to introduce you to the United Way's board chairman. Now, for those of you who know John Salveson at all, you may know him from his work as a co-founder of the Salveson Stetson search firm. You may know John for his many civic involvements. He currently serves also as the chair of WHYY. I saw Bill Marazzo here earlier. But one of the things that I most appreciate about John is he's pretty battle-tested. He doesn't get rattled easily, and that makes us a good pair because, around every corner there's something that we hadn't foreseen that we are probably going to do, and and then I kind of spring it on you, like at kind of the last minute. And John seems to take that in stride, and if I didn't know better, I think he almost likes it when I bring something crazy. And so I'm pleased to announce that John has accepted a lifetime appointment as board chair of our United Way. I don't think that's actually true, but I really want you to welcome John to the stage because he has presided over an extraordinary amount of change so that we could be in tighter alignment with our community that we are here to serve. And without his leadership, we wouldn't be half as far as we've come. And as you know, if you're a nonprofit leader, governance wins championships. And so having a strong board chair who's a good listener really helps. So please welcome to the stage, John Salveson.
Thank you, Bill. Has anyone you watched the Macy's Day Thanksgiving parade, right? I'm the guy that holds the rope. That's my whole job here in this position. Actually, one of the things that I wanted to do as a beginning is to recognize all of the board members that we have here today. And I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand. I'm going to actually ask you to stand. Our board members, our distinguished directors, our members of social venture partners, we have some former board chairs here. They're the ones that look really old and tired. And we have some former campaign chairs. So I'm going to make you all stand up. Please do that. And we're going to give you a round of applause. Great. And Rob and I went over this earlier, Rob McNeil. Every one of them has invested in the campaign this year, so we've got our 100% participation. Bill asked me to reflect a little bit about my experience as chair, and the first thing that came to my mind was when Bill called me about 3 years ago and asked me if I would consider serving as chair. The first thing I said to him was, "What number are you calling?" And then I asked him to give me the names of the other board members he had called before me, because it was really quite a time of an enormous amount of change. We went from 62 board members to 29, overhauled our entire governance. And it really, and we did all that because Bill said to me, okay, I think we've got the mission in line, I think we've got the staff in line, now we've got to align the board. And I think if you don't do all of those things, you have a problem. So it's been, it's been an honor for me. I learn an amazing amount. The people who are on this board here and not here are people that, I just wouldn't be interacting with every day the way I do. And that's just, it's just an enormous gift for me. So United Way of Greater Philadelphia ran its first fundraising campaign. We're celebrating in 1921. It was led by Ned Montgomery. No, it wasn't. I told Ned I was going to say that. He said I could. And 125 organizations received support, and some of those organizations are still receiving support today. The YWCA, Big Brothers and Big Sisters, Settlement Music School. And there's a quote from the first board chair. It doesn't tell me who that is. I don't know who that was. But they said, this movement will be as big as Philadelphia's conscience, as big as Philadelphia makes it. And I think that's very relevant today. I think that's really exactly where we still are, and I think that the work we've done over these 100 years has brought us to this point. As I said, we've had an enormous amount of change in the organization. We've refocused on the fight for poverty, against poverty, but we continue to raise money. We continue to provide the resources necessary to our partners who move the needle and who make all of these things happen. When I looked at the attendance list, I was so thrilled to see how many people from the agencies we support are here, who just make it all possible. So I'm going to invite you now to watch a short video. This features current supporters, some of the people from those agencies, telling their story about United Way, and I hope it gives you a picture and maybe summarizes in some ways the United Way we are today, which is very different than the United Way we've been.
So what am I most proud of? I'm most proud of the fact that United Way for 100 years has really served this community, continues to serve this community in a meaningful way.
Every day I see miracles, every single day, and every single person that we serve.
We're not your father's or your mother's United Way. We're a very different organization now. We have a very different kind of a focus. We're much more focused. And we're really thought leaders and conveners and problem solvers.
United Way holds us all up. If United Way falls, we fall.
If you're somebody who's longing to be a part of something bigger than yourself, this is the place for you. And if you're not sure exactly where that front door is, you should call me, because I'll help you find it. United Way is a brand that I think a lot of people know, but I don't know that everyone knows what it does or what it can accomplish.
People always think about United Way with organizations about money. And yes, the money, of course, is very important to us when you're running an organization, but it's more the relationship of a partner working together.
There are a lot of people who are caring, but United Way really takes caring to another level. I've often sort of kidded that if there's a problem, suddenly there are 5 organizations waiting to solve the problem. Well, wait a minute, gang. Why don't we get together and try and solve the problem? And who has the best expertise, or how do we bring them together to help solve the problem? The old saying, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with a team. It takes a team effort to solve these problems.
Philadelphia has a distinction which is one that we're not proud of. And looking at the number of people who are really impoverished.
What you have in the Philadelphia region is a kind of a tale of two realities. The first reality is really positive. We have the highest millennial retention rate of any major city in the country. And we have some real challenges. We have the lowest workforce participation rate, the highest poverty rate of any major city.
Our kids today are facing grave challenges that I didn't even face growing up, and I grew up in abject poverty and episodes of homelessness. And I see my challenges as like a whole lot easier to navigate than the ones our kids today face.
When we look at poverty, we don't see it just as one individual or one family. We know that too often poverty becomes intergenerational, so that if I'm impoverished, unfortunately, my children will be, and their children will be.
I've seen it, through my own lens, through my own experiences, how poverty begets poverty, begets poverty, begets poverty. It takes 5 generations for a family to move one way or another. So if you grow up in poverty, it takes about 5 generations to get out.
When you focus on those who need help the most with sort of love and understanding, you then see what needs to be done to solve this problem.
We don't allow the people we're trying to help to have enough voice in how we help them. We tend to overly depend on the people with the money and the gravitas and the resources to also be the architects of the solution. I don't think it should work that way. But I think the biggest voice in the room should be the people with lived experience and the people who are living the experience.
Well, gee, we're giving away a lot of money to a lot of different organizations, but it's sort of like spreading peanut butter on the bread. We were just sort of spreading this all around. And we suddenly said, we need to focus this more because this is it's not really solving the problem.
And the board leadership made a decision that, we're too big. It's hard for us to be as nimble as we need to be, being as big as we are, and made the decision to shrink the size of the board.
We very intentionally focused on, making sure we had a good gender balance, making sure we had, a lot of representation of people of color, different backgrounds, etc.
The United Way megaphone is not only a megaphone that helps us admire the problem, but rather bring forward concrete, measurable, scaled solutions where so many of our neighbors could actually be helped. It starts with the mission.
Our mission is to eradicate intergenerational poverty. That's a focus that we developed about 5 years ago, and it really has sharpened our approach to pretty much everything we do. We're in much more of a leadership role because we're recognized as leaders. I sometimes describe the promise as an overnight sensation 3 years in the making.
I think the promise is an experiment that most would have never thought United Way would be doing right now, right? This idea that the nonprofit can work very closely in collaboration with city council and local government and others.
United Way is so multifaceted, right? It's literally like the one organization that can talk to business on the same playing field, that can talk to government on the same playing field. We can't do this without business. I just want to make that, plainly clear that we cannot do this without business.
I think that if we collaborate, if we, donate, if we get involved, we're going to see a better, Montgomery County, a better Philadelphia, a better world.
United Way is an organization that is big and bold and know that we're fighting an impossible problem. But it's so worth our efforts. If that's something that, appeals to you as a person, that appeals to you as a donor or philanthropist, then boy, does the United Way have something for you.
And I think for the next 100 years, if we deliver what we want, and that is we're going to try and do the best we can to help those who need help the most. If we do that consistently, then we're going to have those donors, corporations, and the government pulling together.
It leads a group of people together, it leads the way, and it helps us to bring everybody together to one specific goal, which is the well-being of everybody in all communities that it serves.
I hope that the United Way, 100 years from now, as they're celebrating their 200th, will have seen really major change, working together to make sure that our community and our city and our region and hopefully our country and our world sees the strength of every individual.
Our goal should be obsolescence. Our goal is that everyone has the shaded tree underneath which to sit and enough clean water and nourishment that comes from food and friendship, that our presence in the community is not needed.
We empower people to get out of poverty. We create paths for people out of poverty. We give them tools to get out of poverty and really build a different kind of a life for them and for their family.
We're putting a stake in the ground, and we want you to hold us accountable. And it's scary, but we're going to do it anyway. It's impossible, but we're going to do it anyway. And that makes me feel excited.
Stand united.
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 Todos unidos.
Stand united.
Couple more acknowledgments. We've talked a lot today about approaches and harnessing participation. For my reflections, I just want to acknowledge first and foremost the folks who are on the front lines, whose work in some cases was ground to a halt during COVID, and for others you went into overdrive. I heard from most of you like every day because it was scary. And you just kept going. And your resolve, your dedication, your heartbreak over the suffering of your neighbors, I just hope we can do a tenth of what you do to help you meet your mission. Without our community partners, without those who are most proximate to our neighbors' challenges, we're lost. So just hear all of you who are leading organizations that are really about expanding the prosperity of our neighbors. You have all of our gratitude, all of our praise, and we owe you more support than we're currently giving, and we're going to do our best to meet that. So there's that. The second is I'm very grateful to the current board of directors, our distinguished directors, for affording me and our team the opportunity to be of service. I also want to acknowledge two folks for whom I have a great deal of admiration who've joined us today, who sat in my seat before me, Alba Martinez and Jim Cawley, who are here today. You guys have a tough job. Very grateful that you are here today. So I don't know how many of you know the indomitable Susan Sherman, who's here today. She's like, a lot of content here. What are we doing about any of this? And if you know Susan, she's a bit of a bottom liner. Like, it's like, what are we doing here? So I'm going to invite you to just reflect. I don't know how you experienced what Nahid said about feeling weary from the fight. we were having church in the back. There was a bunch of amens back there. They're like, hey, man, I'm exhausted of this fight. So I don't know if you're feeling like you're doing not enough, just the right amount, or too much. If you feel overextended or depleted or frankly exhausted, we need to support you through this. This has been really hard for a lot of people for a long amount of time, and that word burnout is very real, and so I want to protect with others your energy. For others, and I really want to commend Delilah Wilson-Scott for her comments up here about, there's comments when you sort of talk about these challenges that are that we could overcome in some ways if we could just get out of our own way. And some folks, my favorite tell in poker, whether you're talking to somebody who's an elected, a private sector leader, a community leader, an activist, or a wealthy donor, when someone starts a sentence with, well, I don't understand why we don't just. What follows after that doesn't matter because you're not really interested in learning about the challenges. You wish, but this idea of leaning toward each other, listening deeply to each other, being willing to not do business as usual and think more comprehensively, creatively, and with boldness and ambition for what we could create together that we couldn't possibly create on our own. So my request for you over the weekend, or in the days and weeks to come, is to do an audit of your calendar. Look back 5 months and look ahead 4 months. And then maybe look at your income statement, as modest or as grand as it may be, and say to yourself, how much of my time, talent, and treasure is being invested in my neighbor's success? For some of you, you've overcommitted. But the reality is, some of us could be doing more than we're doing. So ask yourself, did you see something up here that you want to lean into? Did the promise, are you just a Philly, ride or died Philly person? I had a beautiful dog in my lap and I started going down my doomsday thing. The Raptors are going to beat us again, and I'm getting upset, and then the big man catches that pass and turns around and drops it. I almost punched that dog in the face on accident. I'm like, he made it! And I believe in Philly no matter what. Like, I believe in this town, and if you want to lean into something that's about Philadelphia, maybe the promise might be a place for you. If you're a person who wants to volunteer your expertise, Raj Chetty talked about social capital. I've started several nonprofits, and part of the privilege that I occupy is I have a Rolodex, and I can reach out. Some of you have been on the receiving end of those phone calls. I need your help with this, this, and this. But if you're trying to bring forward a solution to someone's suffering and you don't know how to make a decision about whether or not to purchase a building or to build a governance structure or file a 990, you need private sector know-how who want to help, and that's what Social Venture Partners does. There's some partners in the room, right? And if you want to learn more about how you can sacrificially engage with our community partners to help build their capacity, learn more about Social Venture Partners. They're having a gathering on May 24th, and there's a lot of partners here, and Jen Gleason is here. If you want to know more about that, you should consider that. I guess the other thing that I'm really excited about for our future is, there was a lot here about wanting to herald this incredible organization that has been in this community for 100 years. But really, the thing that I'm most interested in is what's next, and part of that centering what's next is listening. listening deeply. Kate Houston and her team have this incredibly ambitious and unprecedented for us listening tour for over 1,000 participants to listen more deeply for where do we go next in this challenge that is before us, listening to community, listening to private sector stakeholders, and where could we find greater alignment, aligned interests and aligned capital and aligned impact. And this, unfortunately, is a city of fragmentation and turf. And that starts with United Way showing up differently, and we pledge to do that, and we just hope to be of some support to bringing some of that alignment together. So I want to ask one more favor of you besides everything you've done already. My ambition for this gathering is that it becomes a place in our region where the people who care the deepest, who are the most generous, who are impervious to cynicism, but are really about seeking solutions, progress that all of our neighbors deserve, find themselves here year after year, and we build friendship, connectivity, and elevate priorities together. You are here for the first of these. I want you to tell me and the team how this could be better. You're going to get a survey. We love feedback. John, don't we love feedback? I love feedback. If you like it, tell me. If you don't like it, tell John. That's how we do it. But we really do want to bring to our region global and local and national thought leadership, solutions orientation, so that we leave here inspired, informed, and most importantly, challenged to do more. So if you feel under-involved or under-invested, please reach out to me, because I've got ideas for your life that you don't even know. And if you're weary, though, and you need to take care of yourself for a minute, listen deeply to that and know that you're not alone. We care about you, because you got to live to fight another day. I'm so grateful to all of you for being here today. I hope you'll stick around and network or go outside on the terrace and get some fresh air. But thank you for making this such an important day for our community by your presence and by your contributions. Thanks, everybody.